Start and done. Start and done. Start and
Exactly.
done.
If you sat around and like edited out all of the pauses in a video or something like that, that would drive me insane. I know that you can like set up a macro for that in Audacity and
Oh yeah,
like
I know that software.
go ahead and do that. But yeah, if you did that by hand, I would feel your pain. But literally just saying, all right, I want this video to start here and I want this video to end here. It's not hard.
Not really.
No, it really isn't.
It's not rocket science.
No. It's not rocket surgery.
Rocket surgery. That sounds like some intense surgery.
Where was I?
Honestly,
What
I
am I
see
doing?
enemies spawning on the outer perimeter of our house. That's where they're spawning.
Yeah?
I just need to run a row of torches around the outside perimeter, and I think our infestation problem will be dramatically reduced.
I don't know, man. I guess you could try. I mean, I'm never going to tell you no for prevention. Whoa there, you're too close. Get away from me.
Because I can, like, when I'm out swimming and coming back, I can see the enemies lined up on the outside of the house.
Yeah. Hey.
In the little tiny ledge that exists on the outside.
Ba-dink.
All right, I'm watching the trailer real quick.
Okay.
No rush.
Here's how the trailer plays out. What? We got the same animation engine as Star Wars Rebels. What? And then it's over.
Is this Kojima's one, or what is
No,
this?
this is Starlink.
Oh. I don't know if I've seen this one, to be honest.
Starlink? It's the one. It's the one where.
We're just like it's just like a really
Ah!
vague intro that has no connection to anything, and that's it.
No.
'Cause
What
that's
it
what I'm thinking
is.
of.
What? It's that game where you have to buy like a little spaceship and the wings are modular and you can like pop on additional wings and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would never buy a game like that. That's just me.
But dude, but Vast wants it so hard. She's
Oh, she
like
does.
she's drinking the
Bonkers.
Kool-Aid. She's on
The wagon.
on
The wagon
the
is hers.
yeah.
She
She's
owns. She
snapping
has
those reins,
a
man.
monetary investment in the wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to throw this gravel into the sea.
Makers, come here, you beautiful orange drink.
Damn it, I want to buy this stupid game.
We were just talking about that.
Literally just got done talking about that.
Yeah.
All right, let me send this link so Jason can see it, and then I'm ready to go.
Okay. Oh.
Gmail.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm gonna have to commandeer some of our coal to make some torches.
Who else do I need to tell we're doing a podcast?
Oops, this is the wrong thing.
Stop trying to attack me, Phantom. I'm underground.
I tire of your shit.
Your shit is tiresome. Other arrangements of that same sentence.
Going to make one crafting table to bring it with us down to wherever we're mining.
Oh, I killed it. But there's another. There's 3 more? I'm getting back underground.
Your little ways over there.
Yeah, I'm at the original place.
Okay.
My plan was to,
Actually, we do need to move some of that stuff
yeah,
away from those other
move all the
chests.
junk, but It's
Nighttime.
dark and the phantoms
The
are out.
beds are over here.
Yeah. I guess I could run back over to the. Ow! I guess I could run
I
back
mean,
over to the mansion.
hold on. I'll light the entrance.
Hello, pig. Hello, cow.
Entrance. Make this nice and inviting.
Perk. Hey, stop shooting at me. Hep, hep, hep.
What was crouch? There we go.
Okay, I'm back at home. Do we want to make it daytime?
Oh yes, let me get back upstairs.
Why is my phone blinking? Oh, Vass just sent the email.
I will read it momentarily.
Project Judge.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
Alright, let's take a... Well, I gotta see what this thing you sent now.
Oh, okay.
Here it is.
There
Golly.
she is. This honestly is not the first game to try something like Starlink, is it? I can't imagine that it would be. It sounds very 90s of them.
No, I don't think there's been anything quite like Starlink. The closest thing would be like the amoeba. It's a natural evolution of the Skylanders amiibos phenomena.
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 We don't need to go through that hell of listening to that song.
Well, we are not listening to that song.
Good.
And just so you know, the only reason I sent that one screenshot is because they misspelled Red Dead Redemption's title.
Red Dead Redemption.
Yes, it says Read Dead Redemption.
Mm.
That's official YouTube. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Did you see how big the file size is on PS4 Pro? We haven't officially started the podcast. We are rolling, but we haven't actually started the podcast. Maybe we should wait.
Oh man.
What?
No, I just hate editing out the first.
We talked about that too, dude.
Yeah, your
It's
intense dislike for
it's
it.
pretty easy to edit out the intro.
It's just finding the correct break because there's never enough. Like before you start the intro, just give yourself a 10-second pause. So there's like a really fine like break.
Uh,
Because usually it's like
Looking out for
syncopation.
you.
I'm
Just another-
subdividing seconds. It's like what? When can I come? It's like double dutch. It's like when can I come in and cut this shit out?
Oh, Minecraft has a Dungeons announced trailer?
Dungeons. Yeah, I actually haven't looked at that yet.
What?
I'll need y'all to hold my
Wow.
hand through all of that.
How much are just looking at it? It's only a minute.
What is it?
The Frenchmen are the evil rulers of the Underlord of the dungeon.
Har. Har har.
The subtitles in this trailer are Arabic. That's weird.
Well, Minecraft is universally appealing. Where are you going? Dude? Oh. Ah. Pig.
Coming to PC in 2019.
2019. 1 year away from Akira. Tetsubro!
I gotta say, that Death Stranding trailer was weird.
I don't think they've produced something that wasn't weird.
No, they've all just been totally just like, what?
I fucking love it, but, you know, none of it has made sense so far.
I don't even think if you played a little of the beginning of the game, it would make any sense so far.
No.
Just
I think
none
it's
of
something
it.
that you play as an experience and then have to try and piece it up, like, after you finished it all.
That's so much work for oneself.
It looks
Here, go
so
figure
good,
this game
though!
out.
Save it for the podcast.
Do we want to start
Okay.
podcast?
Do we need to have our moment of silence before we begin?
Okay, before we
Pour
get
one
started,
out
is
for
there
the
any,
beginning of the podcast.
are there any baño breaks? Does anyone need to go get water?
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Okay.
See?
I'm gonna get
Does
in the
everyone have
house
their cell phone?
and get more makers. Makers, you do me so wrong. Oh, wait, go to the house first. Bye. Where'd the creeper go? Is he behind that? Nope. Damn it. So Vass, are you gonna be playing Origins while we play?
I don't think so because there's a lot going on, and I'm actually interested in like the cutscenes and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I will either like do Warframe, which doesn't require much thinking, or maybe not even play anything. I don't know.
You could watch our cast, interact with the chat if the chat decides to be a chat.
Oh, I had meant to go in there and check our levels. Did
Yeah.
you do that?
No, I haven't done that yet. But I need to go. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. In honor of our chocolate conversation, I had 2 chocolate-covered almonds.
All right, I'm checking our levels. Hold on a second.
That mic check.
You guys, I found
No.
chocolate.
I was just saying, in honor of our conversation, I had some chocolate-covered almonds just now.
You guys, I found chocolate. Oh, I heard myself.
It was delicious.
All
I
right,
don't
we
think I heard
sound pretty
myself,
good.
though.
Cool.
Okay. Sound pretty good, or we sound amazing? There's a difference.
Well, we always sound amazing, guys. We always sound amazing.
That's what I thought.
You
That's
know what I
thought.
think of myself and my voice is that I'm honey drizzled over thunder. So don't.
Oh, gee.
Oh my god. Please let me use that in the future. I'm logging that away forever.
Okay, I am not cutting that out. That is where we intro.
Oh, man.
Okay, this is episode 30 of our show. I'm Scorch, there's Vast Empires, and there's also Arcadius. I've been drinking, and we have video games to talk about. We're playing Minecraft. No, we're probably not going to be talking all that much about Minecraft.
Oh my god.
Where do we want to? Where do we want to start? That was. I didn't know I would elicit that kind of a response for that.
Oh my god, that was beautimous.
That was definitely going on my next T-shirt. There's a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Let's start with the trailer, the PS4 titles that came from the Tokyo Game Show.
Ooh.
Oh, I can't keep a straight
It wasn't that good, was it? Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was exquisite. It was so good.
So where do we want to?
All right.
Where do we want to start? Do we
Sorry.
want to start? There's like Death Stranding. There's some Sekiro, I think. There's a few other things. But
Well, let's
Vast
start with
is our
Death
list
Stranding.
master.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of a hot topic right now.
And also the trailer was great. So
Yeah.
And
We-
weird, as only the rest of the game could be.
Oh yeah. We saw Troy Baker's character. He has a gold mask, and he takes it off and summons up a
What I
tentacle
thought was
lion
funny is
beast.
that he took off the mask, and what he had under that was literally another mask.
Yeah.
But it was
Extra.
it was a gas
Extra.
mask. Yeah.
Ha.
I found that a little odd at first, but it's like, whatever. They're out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that much attention to protecting your identity since Red Hood under the under the Red Hood, and the second Robin, Jason Mask. So yeah.
I think you're alone in that one. I haven't seen that.
Also have not.
Well, I really liked it, and I said this to Scorch before, and I do not at all mean it as an insult. I actually mean it in a really high form of praise. The sequence itself reminded me of something that I would see out of like a Final Fantasy game, just visually, and I thought it was super cool, even though I had no idea what was going on. The people who are swirling in the black ooze rain that's on the ground,
Yeah,
those
that's
are
confusing.
spirits of the dead, and is he using his mask to control them? What
Who
is
knows?
happening? Is it time stream
I honestly
that
think it
he's
has something to
mixing
do with
up?
those twitchy little robo blinkers that are on their shoulder. And
Aren't
the real
those
purpose of those
detectors?
things is not. You think so. You think so, but it seems weird that you would have a detector that. Okay, I take that back. His detector even went nuts when he conjured this thing, so that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy that.
All right. I like that
I will
his
buy that.
little gold mask was translated onto the giant lion's face
Those
too.
4 pieces
Oh, yeah.
that opened up and went raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Only I was
Little
expecting the real face of that thing behind the golden mask to be a little bit more impressive than just kind of like
Well, they
Like
can't
an
give it
earthworm
all
thing?
away.
going on. I could have gone a lot of different directions with that comment, but I decided to go earthworm. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Oh goodness.
So did we learn anything else about, not necessarily about the
I
characters,
think
but
it was
about
just
the
wow
world?
factor to show you that you weren't going to just roam around the game.
You
will
weren't just going to
actually
be
fight
delivering
some people.
packages
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
UPS.
You're not just going to be a straight up delivery dude who has to dodge things. Like, you will have to attack and fight things. I think that was the purpose of the trailer.
Well, there are a few things that I do want to pick out, and it's that really up until now we haven't had really a like somebody who could be viewed as an antagonist to the series. And this reveal of Troy Baker's character seems like it would be kind of an antagonistic way to think of things. And also, Norman Reedus' character in that trailer was carrying another human on his back.
Who was conscious
Yeah,
and was looking around.
and was looking around.
Quite,
Riddle me
Quite
that
the scenario.
Batman. That's odd.
I believe the correct way to say that is...
oops.
Riddle me that, Batsy.
Batsy! Oh,
Anyways,
Oh, you know what? I didn't. So, was that a
an
baby?
odd thing? Yeah, that was odd. That was truly odd.
a baby? What are you talking about?
Oh no, this was a
Well,
full-grown adult.
Oh, the thing on his back? Yeah, this
Yeah,
was
that was a
like
full person
an adult woman.
with no missing limbs or anything weird like that.
Yeah,
Like,
completely conscious, looking around. Yeah,
yeah.
there was a
hmm.
baby. Okay, I don't know if Norman Reedus' character had a baby, but Troy Baker's character had a baby on his chest.
Okay, okay. I
Y
thought that I remembered a
yes.
baby being
He
somewhere
also had
in
a red
this.
pod. Now hold on. We don't
It,
know about baby. We know red pod with
yeah,
a
but it's
hose
the
Okay.
in which we
same
have
kind of
inferred
pod that
we
Norman
have
Reedus.
inferred baby goes in said red pod, but we don't know what's in his red pod.
This
Just
is
throwing
true.
that
What,
out
you
there.
don't think it's a baby? You think it's something more sinister?
Considering he conjured a RAR of that magnitude, I'm gonna say something else is in that little canister on himself.
Okay.
Throwing it out there.
What if there's a whole subplot
I,
that has to do with like collection of babies in those little pods and like
Oh, it's gonna
if
be
they are
so
babies,
creepy.
if they
you
are
get
anything else,
you get like different specs or power-ups or something depending on which baby
based
you
on
take into a
which.
fight.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We're equipping baby pods.
Oh
This
man.
this is too much. This is
Makers, come here, you. This is gonna be a good podcast.
Wow. Well,
Ugh.
I will be disappointed if that is not like a sub mini game where you collect your babies like Pokemon for different power ups.
or grow them and nurture them to do things
Yeah,
that
Hmm.
would not normally be done.
normally be done.
Yeah, I don't know. The game in general weirds me out. All right, my weird meter, like
Yeah,
it's going up.
you're,
Like the needle's moving. All right, it ain't just sitting there in the
it's not
green.
it's not pegged already though. Like
It
there were
is.
so many things.
It is wildly bouncing with no settling. Like it
Okay,
is just.
all
It
right.
is up and down, up and down, up and down.
It's like a Richter scale right now.
Oh yeah. Back and forth.
Sorry, I'm eating chocolate. My apologies.
Hmm.
Enjoyments.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's
Well,
it's just weird.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, there were some other game trailers that were specific to PS4 that came out at the Tokyo Game Show, and one of them was Sega's Yakuza studio announcing a new game called
Yeah.
Project Judge.
Project Judge. So
That one doesn't look interesting to play, but the plot of morality twists I think are going to be quite intriguing.
so explain something for me because I only caught like edges of this and kind of only half watched the various things that we sent each other. Are you like a private eye for a law firm or something like that? Or
No,
are you an
so
undercover
in the
cop?
I watched the video from end to end, and so basically what you gather from the video is you are a lawyer. And at
Okay.
the very beginning of this thing, what you find out is that you were a lawyer who took on an extremely high-profile uh, thing to defend a Yakuza member or head,
Uh-huh.
and you won the defense and had him acquitted. And
Okay.
there's a call that comes in because you're like this real noob lawyer, like you're not like a big name, big shot type lawyer. And what happens is that this Yakuza guy calls the firm again, and the secretary is like, um, he's just murdered somebody and burnt their house down.
Oh,
And he's like,
great.
what? You're kidding? I just got him acquitted of a murder, and he has now, like, huge evidence, allegedly, huge evidence against him, openly murdered someone, and now he wants me to defend him again? And then something happens, something snaps, and it goes on for the rest of the video, and he's no longer uh, a lawyer, and he is now sort of freelancing, taking things into his own hands with his lawyer knowledge slash helping other people.
Huh.
And that's what I gathered from the gist of the video.
I see.
Yes.
The other thing that I know about that game is that Danny is really, really looking forward to this.
Well, there's a couple of interesting things about this. I don't know how big you are into Japanese boy bands, but
Like 0.
but the voice actor that they got for this to play the lead character in this game is a member of like one of the most successful Japanese boy bands.
Oh yeah.
Now
So
we know why she wants to play.
like an older one, like he's a member of SMAP, and SMAP is pretty old. Like I think they're from like maybe the equivalent of the New Kids on the Block. No, no,
Oh,
no, like
okay.
New Kids
Not
on the
that
Block, like that
Okay.
old, but still really popular, and does a lot of television shows and stuff like that, and like maybe even hosted some game shows and stuff like that. But it's that equivalent, like Donnie Wahlberg being,
Wow,
you know,
bag.
like being your main voice, or even Justin Timberlake, in your
Matt
video game.
Damon.
So,
I'm
oh
so
my
sorry,
gosh.
Matt.
Yeah,
No,
we
no,
could
no. I'm
derail
just
that
thinking.
for a
I
minute.
really after this, I want to ask you guys if you saw SNL, but after the podcast.
I have not. I really
After the
want to.
podcast.
No.
But yeah, I'm kind of there with Arcadius. I don't know how much enjoyment I'll get out of playing that game, but I love the aesthetic of it. And the other thing is, you hear so many good things about Yakuza.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
I've only seen
No.
gameplay of Yakuza every once in a while, and the thing that struck me was how incredibly sad it was for you to walk into a karaoke bar and request a room so that you could sing karaoke by yourself, and then the mini game would kick in and it's like a rhythm mini game and you're like pressing buttons in accordance with whatever's on the screen and all that, and your character is like having a great time by himself, clapping away by himself in a karaoke room. It was so
Mm-hmm.
awkward and sad to me. It was it
Mm-hmm.
immediately put me off. I do not like that kind of thing.
You're like, oh, right in the feels.
Like,
I can't do this.
Oh yeah.
Maximum feel.
All right, so next on the list, and there's a lot of games. The next on the list was
Really are.
Project Awakening. Did you guys see that trailer?
You're gonna have to.
Yes, that's the one with the knight and he
Yes.
approaches and fights the dragon in like
Yes.
really detailed fashion.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
I did see
Detailed
that,
fashion.
but I can't really
I
remember
really
all that
like
much.
that one.
Okay, that one has caught my intrigue purely from the standpoint of how smooth the mechanics look. It's like you took the game of what is? Oh my gosh, it's escaping me. The multiplayer knighthood game that kind of flopped. For Honor. It's like you took For Honor and made it a legit single-person campaign.
Oh,
I mean, their campaign is pretty legit, but this one with like an actual like bigger story behind it, like a much bigger protagonist role and not just something split between three factions.
yeah.
So that
Well, it
that
sounds
kind
like
of
it's something that's right up
larger
my
Oh.
role.
alley. I'm sad I haven't remembered this.
It was really good. Or the beginning of it looked really good. It was my
Oh.
favorite thing that was released. Although again, I really like the atmosphere and what could be the actual story from the Detective Yakuza game,
Yeah.
Yes.
Project Judge.
Project Judge.
Yes.
That's a good name.
The other one I put on the list, even though maybe not everyone else will be as excited about it, but they announced a reworking of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles.
Yeah, I
Did
never
anyone else
played
play
that
that
one.
game?
I never played it.
I did watch it. I don't know if that game's my cup of tea.
What was different?
It
Like,
was-
what demanded the different title?
Well, first of all, it was on the GameCube.
Game.
Okay, that's why.
And it was, I think, the first, if only, game they had on the Square game that's been on a Nintendo project in such a long time.
Wow.
So that's what made it so popular. And then it was a very light game that you can play multiplayer. I think it was up to 4 players.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was. I don't know if you guys remember like The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords, but kind
barely.
of that, like a little
Just
bit of
barely.
a little bit of a throwback, something really interesting, a little different for the time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy that. There are people who will get certain nostalgic enjoyments out of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like that new PlayStation Mini that got released with the little
Oh
preloaded
yeah,
games on it.
that thing. Man, I want that to do well, but I'm not purchasing one. That
I
was.
think now have they determined whether or not you can actually load more, or you just get the 20 that come on it and that's it?
As far as I know, just getting the 20 that come on it. And they haven't
Hmm.
specified all 20. They've only specified the first 5 titles of it.
Yeah, I
And
tried
one of them
searching
is
for
going to
some more of those
be the old
titles.
school Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, people will buy it just for that.
yeah, there's going to be Ridge Racer 4 on it, Final Fantasy VII. Those are the only 2 that are popping out. I think Tekken, one of the Tekkens maybe.
I'm telling you though, that Final Fantasy that's gonna bring droves. A remastered 7 will
Do
absolutely
you
make
really
people go
think so?
nuts.
It's
I
not
think
going to
so.
be
It's not the.
remastered.
I thought it was remastered.
Uh-uh.
Did I?
There
Oh
No,
no,
that's
the
a
it's
one that's
separate
remastered
project
is
that they're working on.
10.
yeah,
Is that 10 is the one that's getting remastered
No,
then?
7 is getting remastered, and they're
like completely
currently
redone.
working on it. Yeah.
Oh, not part of this. So it'll be a release of the original unremastered.
Yes,
Well then no,
which
I
is
take that back.
why,
I don't think it's
which
going
I,
to totally explode then.
which is why I think some collectors are going to be super excited about it. But like, why am I? I am personally not excited about it because I know that the Final Fantasy remaster with the additional storyline and great graphics and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff is just around the corner.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah.
this is
People are going
Square
to be waiting
Enix
for
time,
that.
okay? Around the corner is
Yes.
like 15 years from now.
This is a true statement. You are not
I
lying.
mean, people have been waiting ages for Kingdom Hearts 3, and it's just now getting stuff that's rolling out for
Yeah.
it, you know? They showed a little bit of Kingdom Hearts 3, right? Or am I going insane?
Um.
Or they're the makers punching me in the brain?
Yeah, that might
There's
be a quick shot.
Mm-hmm.
honestly, there's been so much. Yeah, actually, I think they did, but I don't think it was that much new inform. No, actually, let me take that back. They did release a new trailer for it, but I really don't remember everything that was associated with it.
All that I really saw was a screenshot of like the main character Sora, isn't that his name? Sora?
Mhm.
And Donald Duck and Goofy looking off into the distance in different directions, kind of like a boy band cover or something like that. That's about all I saw.
Well, they did
Ooh, you look.
release some more about it, but what is it? Organization 13. They brought some Organization 13 back into it, and I was like, man, I really care, but I also don't know what was going on with Organization 13. I don't think I ever finished the second game. That made me question myself.
What
Well,
hath
okay,
thou
okay,
spoken?
okay. We have to take this with a grain of salt here. We know who we're talking to, all right?
No.
I don't.
Yeah, the
That's
individual who's not going to
that's
finish
par for the
freaking
course.
God of War.
I will finish that game. You're gonna make me sound
Press X
screechy
for doubt.
because I'm.
That made me
No.
sound
X for
screechy.
doubt.
Honey over thunder,
Oh
Bass. Honey over thunder. All right, we're digressing really hardcore.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh,
it's not my cup of tea. That's basically
yeah.
all I got for that.
So for those of us who haven't played um that game, Kingdom Hearts,
Mhm.
will you explain to us and
Dude.
everybody else what Organization 13 is?
They were a series of
And it's okay, you can
of
sound
um.
insane. It's fine.
I can. I feel like you sound. Are you bothered, Vast? Is
No,
it
it's
tearing
more
you
like.
up inside?
Well, because I really don't remember like all of their deal, other than they were other people who were looking for their hearts or looking to have hearts, and like when you were playing as Roxas, you were actually um. Roxas is actually a piece of Sora's heart,
Uh-huh.
but like You can hear my recollections are very vague. I am
Words.
getting your residual drink. I don't know how.
Contact drink.
I'm getting a contact
Power
drink.
of makers at work.
New feature from PlayStation 4
The makers edition.
in the Makers Edition.
So yeah, but everybody who was a part of Organization 13 was somebody else's nobody or the darkness of their hearts.
Hmm.
Um, that's been either pulled out or reformed, or they're trying to become
Pulled out sounds a
real
little
people.
painful.
And so, yeah, when you were in Kingdom Hearts 2, you played the majority of the game as Roxas, who was lost. Um,
Hmm.
but again, like half of this stuff doesn't make sense because I never even played some of the DS games, like Birth by Sleep and 365 Chain of Memories. So
I
Yes,
I
heard
don't
yes.
Chain
know.
of Memories was good, but
I didn't hear it was bad.
ah,
But yeah, it's really interesting. And I am definitely going to buy the game. But before I play it, I will probably watch one of the whole zillion explanation things on YouTube just so I can figure out what the heck is going on.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
quite.
that is like an insanity that I don't think I could ever be a part of. I'm already on the wagon for Death Stranding. I don't know if I could like handle it if I was
Eke
on
out another.
another. Yeah. Oh, we have.
I really hope that you do play though.
I don't know about that fast. I wouldn't.
I
Don't
know, I
don't count your
know, I know.
chickens, please.
This isn't me like demanding it. I'm just saying I wish that you would because I think it'd be such a fun streaming experience. You with the Makers Edition playing
Kingdom
Kingdom
Hearts
Hearts.
3 Makers Edition.
I mean,
Oh
that could be
man.
its own little sub channel. Just saying.
I'm just saying the commentary would be amazing. But anyway, pushing on to the next thing on our list, and we'll hit the last couple of these really fast. Were Gungrave Gore, which is a really short trailer, and then
Gungrave.
My
Dogfighter World War
goodness,
II.
they made a game from Gungrave.
Yeah,
That's all I
dude.
have to say about that. That I will play it. I think I would play it because Gungrave I thought was
Really?
an excellent anime. I liked it.
It's
Had the right proportion of feels and action. That's why I really liked it.
it's in that rough spot of my anime memory where like it came out like
A
too
while
early for me
back.
to really like pay attention to it, and it's not something I'm going to pick up now. So I've only seen bits and pieces of it, and I don't have that kind of attraction to it. When when I'm thinking about titles that are anime adaptations, I'm wondering how many actual people outside of Japan are actually going to pick this up. I'm
I
like,
mean,
Arcadius, you are,
Gungrave
but you
Gungrave is
know,
one of those animes that I still vividly remember most of its story. That's how remember memorable it was for me.
hmm,
Out of all the ones I've seen, that's one of the few that's obscure in the back, kind of like Outlaw Star, another great
Mm,
one
that was a
that
good one.
I will just remember
yeah,
because I really, really enjoyed it.
Well, we'll see what happens there.
yeah.
Um, and then the
My God, where'd he go?
Dogfighter World War II.
Okay, that just reminds me of all the bad things of airplanes from Battlefield, and I don't want to play it.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
Yeah,
here, I didn't.
I'll
Here, I
agree with
moved
you
it.
on that.
I'll come back.
I will
Like it
definitely
just
agree with you on that.
everything that the way it looked, I was like, I just see people cheesing stuff in this game so hard and making it so unbearable to play
Yeah.
that I would hate it. I would just utterly hate it.
So as a kind of like a broad statement
Yeah.
about Tokyo Game Show, it's Tokyo Game Show, and these kinds of games are tailored to a different demographic than Western audiences. And a lot of what comes out there is kind of on the periphery of what, Western audiences in the United States in particular, seeing as how that's where we are, that's our frame of reference. They're kind of on the periphery of that, and as a result, there's not much frenzy
Favorite.
that goes on here in the West about the stuff that comes out. It's all just like incredibly Japanese stuff. And
Yeah.
so I might pick up, pieces here and there, but I'm never really going to pay attention to it. And
It's
especially
very
with
Japan.
like it kind of puts me in a tough spot because I like game shows and video game, showcases and all that. And this one seems to be more important than other years, considering that we're not going to get a PlayStation experience next month. And that kind of bums me out. That's kind of like a Western audience tailored thing in Anaheim, California, where they're like, look at all this stuff for the Americans. And the Americans are like, yay. And that, I'm one of them.
Just like that.
Well, let's get into that. Like, because that is a good segue. Thank you. But there isn't going to be a PlayStation experience this year. PlayStation announced, Friday, I
I hope
believe.
they're bottling up that awesome sauce for later, because that's what I hope. I hope they're bottling it up for later.
I don't know. I don't know if they are or not.
Well, they actually had a pretty small E3 show comparatively. Like they went out of their way to zhuzh it up a bit, but they
Zhuzh.
really zhuzh it up. But they only had like 4 like major or tentpole games that they showcased in the like in the very grand way, and then they showed like the rest of the trailers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the press release basically said that they just didn't have enough to
Okay.
justify everything. So that makes
Yeah.
me, or putting together the show this year, and they didn't want to disappoint with a lackluster overall, like,
They just kind of
things
watered
to
it
offer
down
for
in general
2019.
rather than just have an extra small segment.
Which makes me wonder, will they
Average
bring
it
it
out.
back next year? And with next year, will they start providing more rumblings of their PlayStation 5? Or will they be announcing that at E3?
I don't know.
We are entering the speculation zone.
Honestly, that's really. I think the biggest determining factor of that is going to be what the quarterly profits end up being. Because let's face it, most of that's driven by money. So if you see a particularly down quarter, you're going to see them probably announce the PS5.
Yeah, but it's
Because
about
they got to
time to
rev up the
release a
hype and
new
money train.
generation
It
anyway.
is, but as far as its exact timing will revolve in order to maximize quarterly profits. That's just how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Gotta get those shares up.
I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
hate to have to see it in the light of like pure money and economics and business perspective because, this is an entertainment kind of industry that we're talking
Yeah.
about. But
But
yeah,
any
you're not
industry,
wrong.
it's going to have its monies.
You are not wrong.
Speaking of, and this is like a complete tangent, and I don't think I sent this to you guys, but there have been reports that Blizzard
Blizzard.
had a call with their shareholders, their
Hmm.
investors, mentioning that they had forecasting like a really strong end of the year because they have a major announcement that they're going to make this year at BlizzCon, which is in November.
Overwatch
And
2!
well, so that's the thing, like
Now with
they're
more of your money.
and they mentioned specifically, or excuse me, they didn't mention specifically, but the reporting mentioned specifically an answer to Fortnite.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay. So,
that's
what?
interesting.
Blizzard is
That
getting
would be
into the Battle
interesting.
Royale game? Is that like what
That
we're
they might
thinking?
be. That's what we're thinking. So they mentioned Diablo 4
Yeah.
as possibly being announced, and then something new with Overwatch, and everyone is connecting the Overwatch news with the Fortnite news, and so there might be some kind of Fortnite, or excuse me, Overwatch Battle Royale mode, or will it be like a mobile mode?
Like
Because
for
a
your phone?
while, like for your phone, because a while ago they were Blizzard was hiring story writers and something
Oh, dang it.
something specific to do with mobile game coordinating or something like that. So
Well, doesn't Blizzard also have... They have Heroes of the Storm, right? Which is a card game?
they no, the Hearthstone is the card game and Haas is their MOBA.
Okay, okay. So, can you already play Hearthstone on mobile?
That's a really good question. I
Because
don't know.
if you can't, it would seem like a logical place to put a card game. The drive for any of that is not going to be as strong as, say, something that requires more power.
Like a console.
It's very easy to make money on mobile games, especially, when people are bored on the bus or in the subway or something like that.
You don't even have to be bored. I can't tell you how many times I'll go to dinner and literally 30% of the people I see are playing some kind of phone game.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I will say that I just went to my Google Play app, and there you can download the Hearthstone app, so you can already play it mobile.
Okay. So
Wow.
this is not what they're gearing up for as far as mobile is concerned.
No.
Okay.
So right now we're tentatively thinking that it's going to have something to do with Overwatch, and it may be an Overwatch battle royale using the characters that everyone knows and loves. But if you want to invest in something, maybe Blizzard Activision can take your dollars. They were last I checked, they were like at $83 a share.
That's not bad. I mean, Activision is
Pretty
a really
good.
scummy company, and they care about the bottom line. So if you want to make
Yep.
if you want to make money, here you go.
There you go.
I mean, we're
It
talking to
is
the people
cheaper
who
than
are
EA,
trying to
I'll tell you
make
that much.
emotionless decisions with money. So that would be the right avenue to make.
Yeah.
All right.
So quick
Uh,
quick aside, I don't think we ever actually put any of this down, and we're talking about Overwatch and Blizzard and all of that, and it doesn't directly correlate to Overwatch and Blizzard, but it does have to do with their the money structure and the revenue. And that
mhm.
is that 343 announced that Halo Infinite is going to have microtransactions. And
Mm.
I wish they wouldn't have done that.
yeah, it also makes me think that this is not going to be a mainline Halo game. I think it's going to be
No, it's gonna be a
something.
side thing.
Yeah, it's not going to quite be an ODST. I think it's going to be more like a Fallout 76 kind of deal.
Yeah.
Because what's the point in getting microtransactions if you can't show off that you spent real money on this blinged out shit to somebody else that doesn't have it,
Yeah.
you know?
But honestly, in this day and age, it's really whatever a person wants to enjoy, whether it be a cosmetic or a perk or anything. They'll just buy it. I mean, it seems kind of strange. I wouldn't do that, but then again, I am not like most other awkward digital consumers. Maybe not awkward, but ridiculous digital consumers.
Frivolous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not super frivolous when it comes to my digital consumption, but
Yeah.
others would beg to differ. They don't even have to beg; they would just differ.
I'm I just see this as being very similar to EA's um, issue with the Battlefront system
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because it's specifically what 343 is specifically implementing the microtransactions for the Warzone mode, which is the multiplayer mode, and
Mm.
it's has a card-based system within
Oh, I
there.
see.
Like Battlefront did.
Mhm.
Ooh, man, that's
That's
disappointing.
that is incredibly. They literally took one of the biggest gaming abominations and took cues from it. That to me is disheartening.
Well,
Like it's entirely possible that they can make it work in a way that's not predatory. I don't see it happening,
Yeah,
but
no.
it's
I don't see that
possible.
happening at all.
That's real sad. Come on,
But that really
343.
that
Come
really
on
is the
now.
basis of a pay to win like mode, and that's
Yeah,
not fun gaming conditions. It's
they
not fun
No.
or fair.
they also mentioned, and I would love to have your opinions on this, that Devil May Cry, the next Devil May Cry, is gonna have microtransactions in it too,
Really?
and that's a single player
Yeah.
game.
Oh, well then it has to be cosmetic then, doesn't it? Or I don't. Okay, I haven't played a Devil May Cry game, so I can't comment to that completely.
All right, well, to my understanding, is what's gonna happen is that in the game you purchase, or rather accrue without, without payment orbs, and these orbs are used to buy move sets and power ups and stuff like that. Or with
Hmm.
microtransactions, you can just straight up purchase the orbs.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's an earnable system slash purchase system.
That's pay
Yeah.
to win.
Well, it's a
Well, it's
single
a game.
player
It's
game. You're not
actually
going to be
it's
hurting
it's
anybody.
really pay for
Yeah, but
expediency is what you're paying
yourself.
for. You're
Yeah,
paying for
But
expediency to
yourself.
beat the game quicker.
I would
Your
never
wallet.
I would never do something like that, you know? It's it goes against my nature even like with a single player game to
I mean, the whole purpose of the game is to play it to enjoy it and kind of get
yeah,
some fulfillment out of earning the stuff. But I mean, some people just are impatient because we're in an impatient feed me now society. So I can
yeah.
definitely see the transactions doing nothing more than expediting your playthrough of the game, which to most people
This
that's not enjoyable. To some, they just kind of want to know the story, get through it, and all right, I'm done, moving on to the next one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Quick aside,
So they're
Max Bro Adventure in the chat says hi. Hey dude.
yellow.
Hello, welcome to the stream.
Yeah, you found us. All right, what were we talking about? Things that make us angry? Microtransactions?
The micro, well, not really. The microtransaction system not really being our cup of tea, and how it's really more of an expediency play for the "I want it now" culture.
Yeah, not a fan. Really not a fan.
Not a fan, and I think this is just one of those games where it's not even like that's the red orbs are an integral and long time staple of
Oops.
the game series itself, and like it is a gameplay mechanic. Like you collect these things to level up, and if you die, you can use your red souls to bring yourself back to life. So you're
Hmm.
essentially paying for extra lives and a quicker progression.
Yeah,
And some people kind of want that, especially
yeah,
if they play through it a ways and they're
coming.
kind of maybe not the best gamers. They're
But
having some
should you
difficulties, and they're like,
pay
ah, I
for
just kind of
that?
want it.
But should you
Well,
pay for that?
Well, in
yeah,
its purest
because
form,
I would agree so. You would, because in my
Or do
take
you
on
just
that is
play
that
on
a
easy?
game developer has designed a game with a story to be accomplished at a certain pace. They've set the story in such a way as to be at a certain pace. So if you don't want to be at their pace, then you can pay up for a different pace that tells the story at your pace instead of their prescribed pace that to they wanted the game to feel and be conveyed as.
yeah,
And that's kind of really more from the developmental side of things of their work.
I would say that in the purest form of video games, we're talking about games that started in arcades, and the arcades were quarter devouring motherfuckers. So this is not a
The
far cry from
claw.
how video games used to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not some foreign idea that came out of the woodwork recently that everyone hates. It's been around since the inception of video games. The
Yeah.
fact that it's
Well,
actually here and, still around and still potentially a viable thing is something that we're struggling with. Not that, you know, I didn't like it then, I don't like it now. I'm rambling at this point. Thank you, makers.
see, I was about to argue that point just for the sake of argument, but then I couldn't remember because I don't. I think video games inception started pre that, like it predated arcade games.
Yes.
It
So
was,
that's like the mass market appeal of gaming. It's been there since the mass market. We need
okay.
to make money
Alright.
off of this of gaming.
I
So
can
that would
agree
be
to
my
that.
argument there. But then I thought to myself, well, wait a minute. When were pinball machines created?
Ooh,
Because
ooh.
does that predate video games? I think so.
I think it would.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
Would you?
if you're out there and you're listening, and you have some information about that, you can send us an email at DerNami Gaming, or message us in the chat. Leave a comment about your thoughts.
Yeah. So we covered tangentially. We covered Halo Infinite and Devil May Cry. Do we want to talk about something that we would like more closely keep track of and play, like say Sekiro? That's
Yes,
coming
let's
out
hit
and
that
looks
one.
interesting. So if you're not up to speed on any of it, Sekiro comes from the same guys that make Dark Souls. And Adam Bomb in the chat just asked if I can be their daddy. The answer is yes.
Says the makers.
Oh yes, says the makers and me, and like passenger me. Where was I? Sekiro.
Yeah.
They showed a little bit more gameplay of it on PlayStation Underground, and they made it seem like it's going to be a little bit more forgiving than, say, a Dark Souls would be. And it also looks like a fun game. I mean, Dark Souls doesn't really look fun to me. It just seems like
Painful.
broken and clinky, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really like how they seem to be speeding up, not the game mechanics itself, but the movement system, by giving you like that grappling hook and allow you to have a little bit more verticality and motion when you're fighting those insanely could be hard, but not as hard as Dark Souls bosses.
Yeah.
And so that's actually really interesting to me. And the trailers that they've released make me think, this looks like it's going to be really interesting to play and figure out a play style for someone like me who is not
if they
that
just made
good.
something as hard as Dark Souls, almost no one's gonna play it, or at least not the wide audience to make money.
Yeah.
Then again, I say that. How much has Dark Souls been played?
Oh, a
Do we have
lot. A ton.
Okay.
Tons
Then
and tons and
I
tons.
take that back. For my kind of gameplay, they wouldn't be making a lot of money. I would get discouraged pretty fast.
Yeah. It's nice to meet you too, Adam Bomb. Thanks for sticking around.
Because games for enjoyment, not for
like tearing your hair out and
yeah,
like death, murder, mayhem, that kind of thing.
Oh my god, yeah, I don't need to be like straining myself to figure out a video game. Not because I can't, just because it's just not leisurely enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I digress.
No, I'm right there with you, man. Some people really enjoy that kind of thing of
the puzzle nature of it, and okay, so I got to do this exact thing at this exact moment. Oh, I died again. Time to start over and rinse, repeat. Like, no, pass.
Yeah.
Pass.
So I think we covered that thoroughly. What's next?
Yeah, that was pretty thorough.
T-Pilots Gaming says, "Hi, dude. Hey, dude.
Welcome to the stream."
Yeah.
Actually, let's take a look at something a little bit lighter. Did you guys check out the Amazon tie-in to Assassin's Creed with Meet Alexios?
Yes, so goofy. And I've already gone on my tirade of how I think Alexa is just creepy as hell. So I'm not even going to get into the fact of what Alexio is like, other than I think it's clever. I will say that I would never own one, but the fact they did it makes me kind of giggle at how clever they're being. So I'll give them kudo points for that. But
yeah.
10 out of 10 would not get.
Would that be 0 out of 10 then?
It depends on what scale you're on. I'm on the would not get scale. So that's maximum would not get.
Yeah.
So you don't want Alexa like on your bedside table reading you the news?
No, because
I
at one
really
point,
don't.
like because Alexa started out as a female voice, thinking of it as like this now masculine voice is kind of hard to disassociate.
Spartan voice.
Yeah, sorry, Spartan voice. But it's not a Kratos voice. So.
Do you want Kratos screaming "boy" at you to wake you up in the morning?
Get up, boy!
boy!
I'm just saying. It's time to go conquer
Get up, boy.
Boy.
Get in the
Okay,
shower,
so-
boy.
I would use that
Your
for at least
taste
2
is
days.
displeasing.
Or imagine him being your coach, like Kratos being your coach on your Nike like fitness
Oh
app.
God.
Then I would be one
Oh,
of the most
God.
ripped human beings on planet Earth if that was the case.
I think of it like Alexa like constantly listening to you is like Herbert from Borderlands 2, recording the sound of your recording the sound of you
Breathing.
sleeping.
Oh, I can't play. I cannot get it now. It's a Herbert device.
It's a Herbert, and the fact that it would then sound like some sweaty, greasy dude like
No,
talking to you in your
dude,
head, I can't do it.
no.
There's no way I
You-
could do it.
You have 100% solidified my hatred for Alexa now. I cannot have a Herbert in my
Herbert.
life. That just cannot be.
So
Oh.
clearly we
Cannot
have to really quickly finish our animation lesson so we can put together a Herbert personal
Oh my God.
assistant
Oh
type
God.
video. We got to do it. We got to do it. Clearly.
Oh my God.
You're welcome. You are welcome.
High amounts of dislike.
I don't know if we really are welcome. I don't know. I don't like that.
Mm.
But-
That's a salty taste right now in my mouth.
So Vas, moving on to something a little bit more palatable.
Less cringy.
Let's talk a little bit about Starlink, eh? What do you think about
Yes!
Starlink?
Starlink Battle for Atlas. I'm so upset because I really like I really like the way the game looks. I know I'm gonna buy it, and like I'm 2 steps closer to actually purchasing a freaking toy to go with it, just to see how it works.
That's okay. No judgment. This is a judgment-free zone,
Yeah.
unless the makers wants to judge. But we're gonna.
What the
exclude
makers
that.
is currently not judging. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I mean, it is snickering in the
Judgment-free
background,
makers.
but it's not gonna audibly, judge. Come here, makers.
But they recently released a story trailer for the game, and I thought that I've been saying this since the beginning. The animation for it looks ready-made to be a Netflix original cartoon in the next year or so, and I hope that it's popular enough to become one, because Netflix has been putting out some really great animated series.
I have been told that. I have
Yeah.
not actually gone and watched some for myself, but I've
Oh, dude,
heard
you need to
tales
check
of
out
yore that Netflix is doing pretty well these days.
Oh yeah, like look at Hilda, the Dragon Prince, which is Avatar Light. And then I really like the Voltron series, but I like the original Voltron series. And their Troll Hunters. Their Troll Hunter show is actually really, really good show. So
Well,
I
time
was
to bum off a Netflix account.
I was mentioning to Arcadius before we actually started the stream that their animation engine for Starlink looks almost like pixel for pixel the same as Star Wars Rebels.
oh,
And
bit.
I
of
wonder
resemblance.
what your take on that is. Do you think it's similar enough that they would have like some kind of overlap in audience or conflict or anything like that?
I hope that there's an overlap in audience there, because from what I've seen so far, I haven't, unfortunately, I'm not like a beta or alpha tester. Ubisoft, hit me up. I would love to try it out early, even though it's coming out in like 2 weeks. But
That's still early.
it's still early. But the game itself looks like I've been waiting for a really good Starfighter game. And this one looks like it's an all ages platform, but it looks like the mechanics of it are a very good Starfighter game. And so people have been looking for like a Rogue Squadron game for the longest time. And if this in any way, of course it's not inside of the Star Wars universe, but if it offers them a really interesting world, an interesting group of characters to try and some amazing ships and great gameplay, then I think it could be something to fulfill that need until there is possibly another Rogue Squadron game.
I'll buy that.
Yeah.
In terms of the news.
People have been looking for an excuse to play Star Fox outside of a Smash Bros. Game for a really long
Yeah.
time. And the latest iterations of Star Fox games are trash. So I'm hoping,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Hoping
hoping that
for some
this,
reinvention.
yeah,
Well, that's the other reason why I'm excited about it, because the Switch version has the Star Fox like story story mode integrated into it. Like, it's not just a DLC. He's actually a part of the main quest, I believe, or he fits into the main quest some kind of way. That if the studio does a really good job with this game, that you'll either see, more Star Fox in this universe, or maybe they'll even be tasked to take on a new Star Fox game.
yeah,
And how awesome would that be?
And it's pretty safe of them to do this because they can test the waters, and if Star Fox isn't the one making the hit, then they can just slowly segue him to something else, or if he is the central hit, make him a bigger part of
what are
it.
you doing?
So it lets them throttle how much of him they want to show
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
use.
So
We have a comment.
I'm gonna
Oh, go
have to
ahead.
call out this comment here. We're going the same way. What's Star Fox? That simultaneously makes me question. No offense to you, T-Ba. How old you are and how old I am.
Do you know what a Nintendo 64 is? First question.
Yes, that was Star Fox 64. There was a Star Fox before that.
I know. But that one is the what I consider the claim to fame.
Yeah, that's the one everyone has been searching for since it's been released.
Yeah.
Yes. What the heck? What is shooting me? Oh my gosh, what the heck?
So Star Fox is I really hope you know what Star Fox is and you're like pulling my leg this whole time, or else I can like feel my face creasing in places. But but Star Fox is a starfighter game where your camera is, behind a starship and you're flying around shooting bad guys through a whole bunch of planets in the solar system. And think of it like an action-oriented, really good version of a 90s No Man's Sky without the bullshit attached. And
Mm,
We mean
that's,
that with emphasis. No,
yeah,
no BS.
yeah,
do a barrel roll.
exactly.
And always understand, Slippy dies, you let him die, and you don't ever save him.
No! That's it.
Yeah, just and you're done. Your entire conversation for the rest of the level just got quieter. You can focus, and
Yep.
things are better.
As long as you smoke and hole Slippy, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna have an old okay time.
And in case you don't know that reference, Slippy is a frog teammate amongst your other anamorphic teammates who is incredibly, incredibly annoying.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
they
Slippy
they
is very
crater
annoying.
it in the first level if you let them. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see that enemy attacking him, and he'll fly in front of you to help defend him, and you ignore him, turn a 180, and go back to doing what you were doing.
So that's Star Fox in a nutshell. Um, what are we talking about now?
I'm going to keep us moving down this PS4 train, because that's
Do
kind of
it.
where we stay.
Oh, I still have Star Fox.
And talk about Sony finally relenting and allowing cross-platform.
Crossplay?
Yes, they've announced a beta for crossplay, which started on the 26th of September.
All right, I
The
want your
beta,
opinions
right,
on
for
something.
crossplay.
Yeah, it's the beta. It's the beta for crossplay.
I want your opinion. What do you think is the real reason? We're going to go full throttle speculation zone on why they have delayed crossplay. What do you think? We are okay for the official announcement from Sony. Their take on it was they had a lot of things that all had to be in place and make sure that all security concerns were addressed. And there's just a lot of things, and it's not just like flipping a switch. That was their official statement.
Yeah.
In some.
Well,
Okay, what do you think?
you could kind of think about it like that. They have a footing to stand on with that because I know that the PlayStation and Sony uh, like testing and all of that, validation for anything that goes on a platform like Sony is more stringent than say Xbox is, or
It's kind of like an Apple model, to be honest.
yeah.
Like Apple OS apps and stuff
So
like that.
you could say that they were being overly like protectionist with what they had going on, but really
Uh-huh,
I
uh-huh.
think what it really is that they were just trying to drive more sales by saying we have this massive audience and all of your friends are
Mm-hmm.
playing on PlayStation, so you need to buy a PlayStation so you can play with them.
Nailed
Yeah,
it. That's exactly my same sentiment.
Yeah,
I do agree.
The
I
money machine was churning ripe, and they do not want to disturb it.
churn and ripe.
Well, they are the dominant force in this generation of consoles, and what like
Mm-hmm.
why do I want to give that position up?
Yeah, why rock
Um,
the boat?
Yeah,
yeah, especially. I do also feel like from the non-business but like security aspect of that, PlayStation also has received, I think, more like
Security hole
attacks
violations? Yeah.
and security violations than the other consoles, and
Mm-hmm.
so on that end, I do believe them because like how when was the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
time our payment information was like hacked and all that kind of stuff?
yeah.
And if
Oh,
this is another avenue to get in, they really have to vet that.
definitely.
I'm
In
in agreement.
this day and
Hacking's a
age,
big thing nowadays.
it can be scary out there. I mean, we're we are a tiny, tiny channel that streams every once in a while and is soon going to have a Spider-Man PS4 review coming out. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And
Hmm.
I think about that kind of thing every once in a while. It crops up in the back of my mind. If we continue expanding at all, we're gonna have to run into these things ourselves.
Hmm.
It's kind of true of any digital media in which you're expanding rapidly on. You garner more attention, therefore you're going to get more spam and junk and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, joke's on you guys. I don't got any money, but
I mean, you could like pay my student loans. That'd be cool.
if anyone wants to pay student loans,
Now she really
please,
doesn't have any money.
please follow up with me. I just had to send out my stuff for my tax returns to
I
to
bet
the
that was
federal
fun.
student loan thing. Oh yeah, it's like again.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how little money I made last year.
Every year with you people. What is it?
Are you not content with what you were sent last time?
Oh, such grabby hands. Anyway, that's a very adult conversation. Um,
Hmm. Let's talk about something even happier, which is Last of Us celebrating Outbreak Day, the fifth anniversary of Outbreak Day.
Outbreak Day.
I
I'm
think
not up to speed on this one. You'll have to get me
Yeah,
up
me
on that
neither.
one.
What are they talking about? The
well,
fifth year of out?
and if,
Um,
so
yeah.
5 years ago, last Wednesday, Sony released The Last of Us. So they were celebrating their 5 year anniversary. That's right, it's been 5 years since the first Last of Us was
Wow.
released.
Yeah.
Jane.
And so with it, they released a bunch of different stuff, an OST, a poster, um,
All kinds
and
of
some
just
more,
goodies.
yeah, some more merch, basically, to get you, if you,
Merch.
um, if you are into the game, there was even a PlayStation System theme, um, and some
I
new stickers for the game. All stuff.
I don't think they need any more heavily of their hype train rolling along because I saw a picture that Naughty Dog released of a fan get the same tattoo that Ellie is rocking in The Last of Us 2.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, across their
Ooh.
arm, that fern thing going on.
Oh,
And it's a
yeah.
Mm.
really nice tattoo. I like the way it looks, but I just I don't
It's
subscribe to that
happening.
kind of like tattoomanship if you get my meaning.
Well, if you don't want to get a tattoo, you can buy a T-shirt with that.
That's much cheaper and much more cost effective.
So, do we now need to arrange on our Twitter that Drake meme of him putting up his hand in the tattoo and then him pointing at the shirt?
Please, please do.
Oh.
Uh,
It is now
that
really
T-shirt's
dark.
$30 though. Okay.
Oh,
Next on the list.
I just ordered a Kojima production shirt.
Was it
You did?
$30 too?
It was like 15 or 20, something like that.
Oh,
It's
okay.
got the logo for Kojima Productions. It's really really cool. It's like a if you haven't seen it, you should really look it up because it looks really cool. It's like an astronaut helmet that simultaneously looks like a medieval knight that has a skull inside it, and
Kojima.
it's really cool. And I'm nowhere near you, so I can't sleep.
Question. Someone asked, um, Taba Loves Gaming asked,
Ta-ba.
what do y'all think of Fortnite? And we'll answer this really quickly because we've played both versions of the game. And I will go to Arcadius with his opinion first.
Arcadius, your
Fortnite the
opinion,
game?
please. Yeah, Fortnite.
I'm not really a fan of the battle royale. Doesn't float my boat. I'm more of a I was about to say team focused. Battle Royale is sort of team focused, but then you got the backstabby part right at the end in order to win. So I don't really consider it full-fledged team oriented. But if that's the thing, then by all means, the animation is smooth and coherent, and it's cartoonish enough for all ages, but cool enough that those of not really young age can still dig it. And I think that's why it's been as successful as it has.
Yeah.
And the gameplay mechanics are solid. After they've gone through their first year, because we started out with the paid version when they first released it.
Yeah.
And it's definitely had its hitches and hiccups along the way, but they've worked out most of that stuff. And turned it into a really solid game. And I'm glad that they were able to progressively develop it into what it is, and so they can start to expand and hopefully not get devoured by the monsters of EA and some of these other biggins, and they could actually make the funds to do things themselves, because I think nowadays that's what's really needed is some developers that are able to kind of hold their own with a lot of stuff. But yeah, I think they got a good thing going, and I hope they're willing to really take it all the way and not just kind of not make half-baked decisions, but make decisions that could really benefit the player base moving forward. I mean, they're still going to make it based on money, conscious decisions, and all that stuff, but if they're really actually focused on people's enjoyment of the game, which it seems like they are, because they just keep trying to make it better and better for the overall general audience, then I think they got a good thing going for them, and the game's pretty fun. I'm a little burned out on it, but others would beg to differ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to start this with a disclaimer that we've been playing the game since day one of early access. We actually paid for the PvE version of it in 2017. Like right after E3 of 2017 is when we actually started playing it. So we've been playing it for a really long time.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like you new battle royale youngins and all that nonsense.
What's a Star
we played
Fox?
before such a thing as battle royale.
Sorry, dude. I had to do it.
But I'm gonna jump in real quick and say that I think out of the three of us, I've played Fortnite Battle Royale more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
No contest.
And not that I find it more enjoyable when I go in as a duo or as a foursome, a four stack rather. And it's more fun to me in that way, but it's still not my preferred method of game or mode for that game, and it's not my preferred method of multiplayer or co-op.
Yeah.
On that being said, I do like what they do with the battle royale side. I like how they try and innovate and create events that are fun for the player. I like how they are constantly putting out new character models new locations, new assets, and how those things are being shared between both sides of the game, the PvE side and the PvP side. Selfishly, I kind of hate that Battle Royale took off as quickly as it did, as soon as it did, because I really did like the PvE side of the game. I think that had a lot of potential, but I think that since the
Oh,
PvP
yeah,
side,
the money's going into that
the
for
money
sure.
went there. They clearly shifted resources when they saw
Yeah.
what that they had like discovered the light bulb essentially.
I mean, when the cash
Um,
cow moves, you feed it.
exactly, and so I think that the PVE side it's gotten better, and they've actually completed some of the things that they did say they were going to complete, but not necessarily in the most timely manner, and it has languished in some respects. And so it's one of those things where I think both sides could be a really strong game for everyone, but one side is making the most money right now, and that's the side um, that I'm not that interested in playing.
Okay,
Hmm.
that's really understandable. I would argue though, and please allow me to argue this point, that PvP uh, it really saved Fortnite as a whole. I don't think we would see
Oh
a
yeah, I believe it.
continuation. I don't think we would see a continuation of Fortnite PvE if not for Fortnite PvP. I think like one saved the other, even if it's not really the side that we particularly enjoy. We probably wouldn't really have PvE to enjoy as much as we do if not for the money coming in from the PvP side. So I'm
I
not,
I agree
I
with
believe
that.
it.
yeah, I'm not arguing that the PvP is like bad for the
Oh no,
game from the PvE or anything like that, but
I hope that's not what it sounded like I was saying. I think I said, like, personally, I just hate that it took off as fast as it did, as early as it did, because the
Yeah.
resources shifted almost immediately, and you could tell,
yeah,
like, immediately, like, between that, like, 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks when Battle Royale first hit, and they saw, like, how awesome it was. The developers updates for the PvE side of the game disappeared. Like, you could
Yeah.
just see the support slowly shifting, and I
yeah.
totally understand it because that's where the money was going. But I'm saying I wish that it had came out like a month later.
A slight amount more of development and enjoyment out of the other side of things.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So while
Understandable.
we're on this topic, do you guys think that uh, that Fortnite is going to be able to keep up with the pace that they currently have? Do you
Absolutely not.
do you think that I don't think it's sustainable, really,
No.
how
Like
fast
they
it's
have
going.
explosive growth, which is why they're trying to play on it now as much as they can because they know it is not going to last. And they want to be able to have that money mountain they're sitting on go towards investing other new ventures in games. Like they've given themselves the kickstart they need to do whatever they want moving
Hmm.
forward. So because of that, they know that, and they're going to milk this for all it's worth, and then put the time in to develop something else, and then maybe in the meantime they can actually start developing. They switch back off of battle royale when people get tired of it, and put just a little bit of time in the actual like main storyline of things.
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
probably when you'll see that shift or that pendulum swing back.
And in this time frame, like, no, there's no telling how long the battle royale craze is going to last, but there is about to be a shift in console, which means a shift in resources, meaning a shift in attention, like across the board. And like PC people, they might not need pay attention to that shift, but there's going to be really big, really happening things coming out. Happening. How old am I? Really big things
Always
coming
happening.
out when we switch consoles, and so
Yeah.
Fortnite might not will probably not be the big attention grabbing thing at the time.
I mean, a console
Um,
shift is no small affair. I mean, that's a
No.
major hardware change, and the
mhm,
developers are going to dramatically alter how they allot their time and resources,
mhm.
Yeah.
especially with new technology making things easier rather than harder. Or in some cases, the render capabilities might be so high, they're like, oh, we want to take full advantage of this, and then they realize, oh my god, we can't take full advantage of this right now. because it would just be too much. They bite off way too much, and they're like, okay, everyone, scale back, take a breather, take two.
Yeah. What? Is it daytime? It's currently daytime.
Especially that news article of that new NVIDIA graphics card technology is going
What
to
Oh, yeah.
completely and
Oh,
blazingly revolutionize how graphics
dude,
get rendered.
freaking Ray scattered my eyes to death. I want some of that stuff. Oh my
It
goodness.
it is just so undeniably good that that is the kind of stuff that like makes me think that these guys were getting ready to announce this console. Nvidia comes out with that, and the guy's like, "Hold everything,
Pump the
stop.
brakes!
We need to see where this is going."
Yeah.
And after they deduce, they're like, "Okay, can we cram that in our system?" And the developers are like, "Well, I think so. Do it." And so now they're full bore going into something completely different
Yeah.
than they anticipated, just so that way they can have an even more superior product. Or when Nvidia came out with that, the phones to them from Microsoft and Sony were off the hook. Like, please cut a deal with us. Please make us exclusive. Like,
Yeah.
I could just see the groveling happening from Nvidia getting phone calls out the wazoo from these people. Like, oh my God, please partner with us. We'll give you 5% of everything. Just, oh my goodness, please.
Oh my God, 5%. The money. The money.
Give us money to burn.
So, Taba loves gaming. You're asking a lot of stuff in our chat, and we kind of want to keep to one theme for right now because this is a podcast, but we will be streaming after this podcast, and
Sure.
we'll answer all of your questions then.
To your heart's
So,
content.
yeah, we're not ignoring you. We just want to move
Off
on a
topic.
little bit. Yeah.
hmm But there is something that it's not necessarily close to one of those questions, but we did get a Minecraft announcement. And
Mhm.
Minecraft Dungeons. You saw the
Mhm.
trailer. What do you guys think?
Ha ha.
Yeah, the Frenchmen are the evil ones in the world. Um, I mean, Minecraft is, enjoyable. I think they're trying to give it a little bit of a campaignish style thing that's not just survival, but I see like a few people playing around with it because maybe, Minecraft is a game to play when you don't have anything to do. You're kind of aimlessly just making your own thing. So I can see a lot of people kind of maybe tangenting off to play it. I don't see it getting like real big, but obviously Minecraft is just a time spender period. So
Yeah.
uh, I think it'll do okay. Like, I mean, Minecraft is still here, so it's obviously doing just fine.
hmm
But I'm not sure it's gonna like explode, so to speak. Then again, I might be wrong, and maybe the Minecraft people have been slumbering and waiting for something like this for a while. I don't know. I'm not one of those people.
Have they announced a price point for that,
No,
or
I
what?
did not see one. If they have,
They
it's
have
new to me.
they
Okay.
have not announced a price point. They have not issued a release date, only saying that it's 2019. All
Hmm.
that they've said is Minecraft Dungeons is an all-new action-adventure game inspired by classic dungeon crawlers, where you'll constantly discover new weapons and items that'll help you defeat a ruthless swarm of new and nasty mobs. You'll fight or flee through canyons, swamps, and of course, mines.
Okay.
And it's got
The
up
other
to
thing,
four-player
yeah. So,
co-op.
All right. I might give it a taste. I'll give it a lick.
Looks
if
like
the price point's okay, I
Yeah.
ain't paying $60 for it or nothing. But
Nah.
if it's okay, I think it's possibly worth a go.
Yeah.
I
What
think it's cool
else?
that they've come up with something new, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We got a couple more topics to cover, and I will toss this out. If we don't want to talk about it today, we can certainly save it for later. But Telltale facing the class action lawsuit.
Ooh, I saw
Good.
that.
Good. Oh my gosh.
Hmm,
They.
something a little salty's in
Wow.
the air
Those
here.
pieces of shit. Oh my god. Why?
I
Why
believe
would you
we've
do
struck a
that to people
chord.
that are so happy and passionate about what they do? They put in so much time for you. You deserve to get sued, you asshats. Oh my god.
Well, I do believe this point has been made quite clear.
I feel better. Come here, makers.
Yeah. For anyone who's wondering, the class action lawsuit was issued because it says that the company was in violation of the WARN Act, which is the
Yes.
Federal Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, excuse me.
Yeah.
Basically, you have to notify people in advance before you lay off.
Well,
Hmm.
it
And
wasn't
there's,
necessarily a layoff, but it's even closing a company. The specific
uh,
wording of, I think, the Ward Act more closely relates to if your company is going to straight up fold, you need to let your employee base know that because then that means everyone needs to be starting to look for a new job. And that's,
hmm
it's more of a courtesy measure that they try to force on the companies. However, what's really interesting about it is in the fine print, in the federal level, there is a clause that allows the company to not provide notice based on extreme circumstances, or there's basically almost an out that is provided in the federal wording of this that kind of allows the company to claim, well, because I think it was Lionsgate pulled out of a recent deal that they had, that it enables them to claim it as this was totally out of control, it was really sudden, and because of how sudden it was, we have to close the company. And then, but but here's the kicker, and here's where the people have a case, is the California variant does not contain that clause. So, while they might be okay in arguing a federal case, they will more than likely lose a state case related to that matter.
From what I understand, the way that the California version is worded is that you have to notify your employees if you have a certain amount of layoffs, even if your company
In
is not
60
going
days.
under.
Yeah.
I think it's
60
like
days is the time frame.
50 or
So
more.
what
If 50 or more employees are getting laid off, that counts as a layoff, and you have to announce that within 60 days or something like that.
50%, and I think the number is 75 employees.
75
Is
employees?
one of
All
the
right.
yeah it was 100 and it got reduced to 75, and then the percentage is like 50% of the employee base, which it was more than that because they laid off 250 for to have 25 left. So
Yeah.
there was a lot more than 50%. So regardless, they fell within that clause allotment. So the
Hmm.
case really is not to like sue them to the moon. It's the lawsuit that was filed on by half of the employees by one in particular employee is to get the 60 days pay they are owed with interest, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that seems fair. I mean, it's not like he's like, oh, I want $500,000. It's not like something stupid like that that could get the case dismissed if he was being stupid with it. So he's just arguing that no, we're due the process, outlined in state law, so give it to us or, suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
And rightly so. I think if when you look at the state law, they're going to try and argue on the federal side, and from one standpoint, it's like, fine, okay, you won the federal case, now on to the state case. So they're going to absolutely lose the state case because it's so cut and dry with regards to the fact that they don't have that clause to wriggle out of like they do at the federal level. So they're pretty much going to be completely sunk by the time they have to pay out, where they tried to get a shortcut and just chop everyone out of it, and it's now biting them hard, and they're not going to be able to save the kind of money they thought they were going to save
Yeah.
with the semi-dickish move that they enacted.
God, that was mean,
Which
wasn't it?
is kind of commonplace. It's not super rare for this to happen, just kind of throwing it out there. People suck, and that's just the way it is. And yeah,
Yeah.
companies are known to do this.
So
It's not
we
a one-off thing.
we have had a lot of words, but Vast, what do you think about it?
Oh no, no, I'm right there with you. And to Arcadis's point, yeah, people suck, businesses suck, corporations suck,
Yeah.
and that's why there are these kind of protections that are in place,
Yes.
because a lot of the times you are considered a resource, and resources can be let go
Yep.
very quickly,
Yep.
um,
Now we're
or
not going
hired
full
very quickly.
union. Don't take it
No, no,
like that.
no.
No, please, God, no. But that's a totally separate cast in and of itself. But
But
yeah,
you
we'll
should
just don't get too
you
carried
sh
away.
no, no, no. But you should. But this is just something really really important to look at in terms of like uh, the state of the industry and what can happen and how to best understand ways to protect yourself if this happens in your particular industry.
And
Like,
I
what are
would
the
almost
protections that you have?
give advice, and not we wouldn't typically do this, but I am now in a position where I've been royally screwed by 2 companies in a row that I have worked for. I would at least vaguely know the work laws of your state, so that way you can, protect yourself. It's not to do it out of spite or vindictive nature, but a company can screw you pretty easily if you don't have things under control and are aware of what you can and cannot do and what rights you do and do not have as an employer. I suggest you go
Absolutely.
look at those because that could mean the difference of several paychecks, which for most people is invaluable.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I highly suggest taking a gander. And they're all open source. You can absolutely go to pretty much any state website and get all of this information. It is not a secret. And it is
Mm-hmm.
all out there in plain view to read. You just have to go read it. It's a little stale. It's Arial type, but promise, it's worth taking a gander at.
Yeah. I wish there was. We need to figure out how to rig sound and stuff like that because this is a perfect place to start playing some light and happier music. Because the topic itself is a bit of a
It's a
downer
downer.
when
Right.
250 people immediately lost their jobs and they have obligations and different
Yeah.
things and so they're out there looking. Um, but we're
Which is
going
why we
to
emphasize this.
yeah, it is a really important topic and I'm glad that we can talk about it. So imagine like a really happy musical change right now, and then we're about to go to the movies.
We're going to the movies?
So this, we're going to the movies this week. There were like about 5, maybe even 7 new theatrical trailers released, and I didn't even put all of them down here. But like the Dark Phoenix trailer for X-Men was released. A couple of others, but the ones that I was most interested in were the trailers for Bumblebee, Creed 2,
Yeah.
and Fantastic Beasts 2. So let's hit those real quick.
Okay.
Bumblebee. I'm sorry, I just love Transformers, so I'm gonna watch it. I mean, that's just the way it works.
You
So,
and 3 billion Chinese.
I know. I'm gonna watch it with them.
I
Steadfast, guaranteed.
I've only
It's
watched
robots.
I've only watched Transformers 1 and 2. I can't. I'm not that big of a fanboy.
Honestly, I could
Honestly,
still claim that the first one is probably one of the best ones, to be honest.
I
I've enjoyed all
That's
of
not a
enjoyed
them.
bold claim. Okay, it is.
I enjoyed the most recent one more than I expected, and I
Is that
think
the
it
one where
was
they're all like knights in Britain or something like that?
Yeah.
yes, okay,
Oh my
but
god.
Sir Anthony Hopkins was
What
in
the
it,
hell?
and he
They
like
had good lore
he was
mixing. I'll say
so
they did a good
fun.
job combining different, um, different lore timelines from what's the freaking character? They did a Merlin tie-in. They did a Knights of the Round Table tie-in. King Arthur,
Yeah, it was
like
so weird.
all that kind of stuff. They took nice little bits and pieces and melded them together pretty uniquely. I thought that was pretty cool.
And you got to see some other Transformers, like the World War I tank or World War II tank. Like it's pretty. There were some moments in there that I genuinely laughed and enjoyed. So I was pleasantly surprised by it. I hadn't seen one since two,
Hmm.
which was just not the best to me. But I did like this trailer. I think it's kind of
Hmm.
interesting that they're focusing only on Bumblebee, even though I understand that, like, as a character, he's really recognizable, and that'll bring the kids in.
Let's not forget they did show clips of Cybertron and others fighting, and they are in their original Gen 1 get-ups.
Yes, now that was cool.
Harken and back, ladies and gentlemen.
A back to basics approach.
Back to basics. I think that's where they're going with the Bumblebee, is kind of doing a subtle reboot. Like, okay, the first couple ones had these weird, loopy, plots and timelines. Let's just restart it and get us some fresh, good Transformers going. That's what I think is
Yeah.
going on.
I mean, I don't really have anything else to add.
All right, well then let's move it over to Creed 2. First of all, let me ask, did any of you guys watch the first
Creed
film?
2, Electric Boogaloo. No.
No, I did not. I will admit.
Well, I will.
It's the guy doing
Who punches the
stuff,
stuff?
and he has a problem that he has to overcome through punching.
In an organized setting.
Did I get it? Did I do it?
Yeah, I mean, we can add some details there. We can say that it was Ryan Coogler directed that film, which is the guy who, and it was not his first film at all, but it was one of his, and not even his first critically acclaimed films. But it is the film that and the Fruitvale Station films are the ones that probably got him the job as director for the Black Panther film.
Oh, okay.
And it is also the film that had Michael B. Jordan in it and Tessa Thompson, who has also moved over to be in other Marvel films as well.
Boy, do I like me
And-
some Tessa Thompson.
And then the first Creed earned Sylvester Stallone his first Academy Award. Or no, I'm sorry, his second Academy Award. I think he won one for screenwriting for Rocky.
Okay.
I just want to thank all the people.
Ooh.
Fuck.
Into the fucking love Sylvester Stallone.
It just wouldn't be possible without you guys. You know?
I'm
So-
just so humbled to be here. It's just such a wonderful. It's so
I'm sorry,
wonderful
but I
for
think one
you
of the
to
only
give
things I
me an
can reference
award.
him now with is what's that freaking movie that has like all the top?
The
Are you talking about the
Expendables.
Yeah,
Expendables?
the
The
Expendables.
Expendables.
Yep. That's what I associate him with now.
Well, I was actually hoping that you had seen the films because while I enjoy boxing in theory, I've seen a couple of matches, like not live, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, just in general. Like
Watch some on that
I have
lookity
watched
box.
some. Well, I just can't. I have a really hard time watching boxing. However, the trailer looks really cool. So, what are your reactions to the trailer?
I mean,
It seems pretty standard boxing story, though, right?
I have
yeah.
difficulty. I will overcome this difficulty. Let's get in the ring and settle this.
It follows the same. I feel like it follows the same kind of tropes as any kind of like sports movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really grab me all that much because the sports movie is a sports movie is a sports movie, whether it's like baseball or tennis or football or boxing. It's really kind of all the same like tropey procedural kind of deal for me. And as somebody who doesn't really watch movies anyway, to have something that you all can have already pegged as, at least personally, as just like this procedural thing is not really appealing to me.
I can see that.
Alright. Well, that brings us to the next trailer on our list, which is the Fantastic Beasts, and Where to Find Them 2. And there's a subtitle to it, but I can't recall it off the
Oh.
top of my head.
Isn't it like Grindelwald's War or something?
Honestly, I haven't read any of the Harry Potter books. I just enjoy the movies.
Are you
but,
serious right now?
Crimes of
I've
Grindelwald.
not read any of them. Not
Dude,
one.
what did you do
They're
with
thick,
your
man. You
childhood?
could measure those things in like feet, not inches.
Dude, I
Well,
got through
let's-
all of them before third grade, man. You need...
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. I mean, part of that might just be because I never found leisure reading an enjoyable thing to do. This is
Oh,
not
dude, it was
my...
the best. And then high school murdered my desire to read ever. But
Separate
Well,
note.
Arcadius, I feel like you're the generation where the Harry Potter books would have come out in sequence
trust
with you.
me, everyone in my class practically read them, and that was only because we had these retarded, you had to read a book every like month or so, and give the teacher a little report thing, and so everyone tried to cheap out, and everyone tried to read the Harry Potter books so they could talk about them and not have to read the whole thing, but read like they like split up the chapters, and so that way everyone could know what happens in the chapters. But our English teacher was not retarded and caught on to this. And so he made his questions that he asked really explicit and detailed. And he still cratered the people that didn't read the whole thing. However, that it was a huge craze in my school for a period of time. So yeah, they. But then again, it was such a craze. It's like, well, I'm not gonna read that because all of you are reading that, and it's yeah. I just no. I
Well,
wasn't gonna have it.
Arcadius, what I have to say is that to that is sometimes when your friends jump off a bridge, you got to do it too.
The thing is none of these people were my friends, so I was not about to jump off this bridge with them.
All right, I guess. You're missing out, dude. They're legitimately good books.
And
They
I
are.
absolutely believe it.
I think my
Maybe I'll
original
go
point.
back and read them and enjoy them, but it won't be immediately.
Okay. But anyway, the movie.
Hmm.
Did either of y'all see the first one?
Yes, I did see the first one. It was enjoyable. I
The
liked it.
the Magical Beasts one, that is.
Hmm.
Magical
Fantastic
Beasts and Where to
Beasts
Find
and
Them.
where to find them.
Yeah,
I thought
Or
it was
is
good.
it Fantastic Beasts?
it was
Um,
fantastic Beasts. It's one or the other, but that was one of the movies that I
yeah.
actually did go out and see.
Did you enjoy it?
I feel like we could have done 1,000% less of Johnny Depp. I don't want him to be there. I don't really want to give that greasy bastard another paycheck, but you know, he's there.
Can I tell you, like, I was conflicted because uh, during that same time frame, he started one of my favorite Agatha Christie novel remakes, which is Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, and so I was like, oh, I really want to see this film. It has so many good actors that I enjoy. I really love this story. I really want to see how they translate this. Kenneth Branagh is Hercule Poirot in this series, and I love um, Poirot's, Agatha Christie's Poirot. And I was like, but Johnny Depp is in it. And yeah, he's probably going to be the one who gets murdered, but I don't know. But he's going to be in this second film a lot. I feel like I enjoyed the first film, but I wasn't like gung ho or uh, there was something a little off in the film for me. I can't put it into words right now just because I didn't even like sit there and ponder it very much.
Yeah.
But I had a much better feeling about this film from the trailer. Like it just looked good. The different set pieces that they had there,
Yeah.
the CGI that they had to create the effects just looked better, and it felt like a more cohesive idea than the first film.
That makes sense. When you're thinking about the movie that they made about Fantastic Beasts, you have to keep in mind that Fantastic Beasts was a book that was put out by J.K. Rowling that is essentially just like a lore book it's essentially this tiny textbook of like like a flora and fauna kind of
Hmm.
small read that's like 125 pages or something like that. And for them to make a movie that has that kind of story off of a book that
A
had
pamphlet,
literally no
essentially.
story in it
Yeah.
is kind of cool.
Well, they actually went to her and said, "Hey, like," and I'm not joking about this. They essentially, the studio, I think Warner Brothers is the one who produces Harry
Yeah,
Potter's. Am I wrong in that?
Hmm.
yeah, you're
They
right.
essentially came to her and said, "Hey, we need some of the good stuff. It's cool that you're out there being a mystery writer right now, and you got your castle, but we need to make some bank. Do you have anything for us?"
Would you like to also make more bank?
And she was like, "Well, I've always had this idea about this character," and they're like, "Great, fine, put something out and we'll make a movie." That's essentially what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know
Sorry.
that part.
We noticed your money pool was getting small. Would you like to? Are you due for a refill? Are you,
Two for a refill. Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Well, guys, that's all the topics that I have for today.
Yeah, been
I'll
going a
probably wrap
while.
it up.
I'd say we did a good job.
Mhm.
All right. Well, this has
Well,
been
thanks for
episode.
listening, folks.
Yeah, this has been episode 30 of our show. We do this pretty often nowadays. I'd say like once every couple of weeks or so. If you like what you heard, subscribe to us. We're on all the social medias. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube, and I think those are the big two. But anyway,
Yep.
we're out of here. We'll see you later. Thanks for listening.